We're going to make some edits to this script. Specifically, we're going to use the ignore option. Ignore will let us mark up the text here in our script panel, and those will be things that won't be included in the audio, but we'll still be able to see them here. They'll just have a strike through so that we know they're not being included in the audio and video. The handy part about that is as you're editing, if you find little tweaks that you want to make or you need to put something back in, it's really easy. You can see where it is, and it makes it much easier to identify what might need to go. So to do this, really simple. I know I absolutely did not like this first time that I asked the question, what we need in order to create videos. And this I can tell is part of a sentence. What are the things we have? Okay, we can get rid of that. So I just select the text by taking my mouse, right click, select the text. Then I'm going to come up here and click ignore. You could also hit control and backspace. That would do it as well. We'll have a listen here. I guess we need a camera, but not to worry. Usually in a smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or a real smartphone like an Android, the cameras in those these days are just amazing. So the smartphone works just fine for that. Audio can get a little sketchy. Okay, I don't like that at all. What if we took out the I guess and we just say, we need a camera, but we get rid of this. We need a camera, but a smartphone. I know it's missing an there, whether it's an iPhone or a real smartphone like an Android. I think we'll take out the but too. I think we'll just say we need a camera. So I'll double click to select that word. I'll cross it out. Okay, so we need a camera. I know that there's an A in there somewhere. We'll fix that. And so we think it'll say a smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or a real smartphone like an Android. The cameras in those these days are just amazing, so the smartphone works just fine for that. I think that's where we will leave that. I'm going to go ahead and move that down to a new line, and then I want to hear how this sounds. Need a camera, smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or a real smartphone like an Android. The cameras in those these days are just amazing, so the smartphone works just fine for that. We'll leave that right where it is. We're going to go back up, and I don't like how it goes. Camera, smartphone, it should say a smartphone. I'm missing the A here. Let's find that. I'm going to come down to my timeline, and I'm going to hover over where this split is right before smartphone. I'm going to have my bracket pointing to the right. That says that I'm going to be working with whatever's to the right there. And I see a word here. Let's see. Is that it? I can either put my playhead on the timeline right before this word I want to hear, or you notice it's always lined up. Whatever's up in the script, wherever you are up there with your cursor is exactly where your playhead is down here in the timeline. Either way works. Let me play that. Smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or a real smartphone like an Android. Yeah, so in that case, this was an A, the way I say it, a smartphone came across to Descript as the filler word, So how are we going to fix that? We're going to grab this, just going to select it, hit correct, and put an A in there, and that should be a capital A, correct. Now I don't need that comma, so I'm just going to hit delete on that. But I do, over here, we need to get rid of this comma next to camera, put a period in there. And then this word, we need a camera. There's two ways you can correct this. You can either select it, hit correct, and then capitalize it in there. That's too many steps. If you press down on the letter Z on your keyboard, you see the little circle pops up with the letters in it. Press down on the Z and click, and it'll change the capitalization on the word. Click, small w, click, big W. Again, hold down the Z and click, and it capitalizes. So let's try this. Need a camera, smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or a real smartphone like an Android. The cameras in those these days are just amazing. So the smartphone works just fine for that. Perfect. Okay. That's how you ignore text, and also how you do some fine tuning if little pieces of your audio accidentally get ignored or trimmed out. Now, I'm just going to finish up the editing on this real quick. Feel free to hang out with me. I don't really like where this is. I think this should be said as a preface. What I said is, in order to make videos, you need a way to record it. Then I say we also need to have something to say, and that should come before. We're just going to move that. Select that text. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to cut. It's going to take it out from there, and I'm going to put it up here, right there. Hit return, right click, and hit paste, and there. Didn't just move the text, it also moved the audio and the video. So we'll go back and see that play through. What are the things we have to have in order to create video content? You have to have something to say. We'll assume you've got that already in the bag. We need a camera, a smartphone, whether it's an perfect. We took that section of the video, along with its audio and text, moved it right where we need it. I do not know what this extra little, it thinks there's an eye down here that isn't really an eye. I'm just going to ignore that because there was nothing there when I played it through. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the video side of this. We're going to see what we can do about removing the background. I hope you'll stick around with me for that. Just click on the video that's up on the right side of your screen and we'll get going. If you don't have Descript yet, you can try it for free. There's a link in the description, and you can stay on the free tier as long as you like, so you can really play around with it and see if it works for you. Full disclosure, I may receive a commission at no extra cost to you if you use my link.